What up, friends? That's where I'm going, and today we're going to be reviewing Black Midi's newest album, Hellfire. This is the third record overall by art rock and prog rock band Black Midi. Black Midi broke into the scene in 2019 by cranking it up to 11. Their albums are uniquely their own brand of prog and art rock, being very manic and chaotic at times while also retaining a sense of self and lushness in their sound too. They've only just been soaring to new heights since then, as their 2021 album Cavalcade just expanded on everything their debut did. It really took their sound to the next level, and with Hellfire, I have to say, I think they probably reached the pinnacle of their sound. Lush and brutal instrumentals, wild progression and vocals alongside a concept that is both fun and entertaining in its own nihilistic way. The opener, the title track, Hellfire, is just insane. It's like a fucking circus burning down in front of you. The vocals are chaotic and the cacophony of strings, brass, and piano, it's just like the world is crumbling and falling to hell, literally. And as we are reaching hell, we get to the next track, Sugar Tzu. This one starts out a bit slower, with the sax kind of crying out in the background before all the instrumentals start to clash and meld together. There's a pleasant and driving rhythm to this song though, especially as the vocals take a more smoother appearance, which is a pretty interesting and pleasant contrast to the chaos that the instrumentals are going through right now. It's a jazz fusion theater play about one character killing another like he's a serial killer and how he'll always be remembered as long as he can stay in the tabloids. Like, what the fuck? Eat Men Eat almost has like a flamenco style in its drum patterns, and I like how it slows down a bit before it quickly rebuilds and retains its chaos as like everybody taking part in the song is descending into madness. There's so many layers here, like these horns and vocals on top of vocals, and a story that is basically about how these two characters are going into this like mining company and their captain essentially poisons them because they're like a gay couple and he hates them, and how it's an allegory for how the LGBT plus community is treated in the US. It's like, it's crazy. There's so much shit happening. There's some great riffs and beats in Welcome to Hell, feeling very post-punky in its execution. The vocals are rambling, evoking a sense of PTSD, and this is fitting because that's largely what the lyrics are about, especially the horrors of war. The jazz ensemble that comes in during the halfway mark, alongside the line, "To die for your country does not win a war, to kill for your country is what wins a war," perfectly describes the lack of care for the home soldiers, alongside the people in the other country by those in charge. It also depicts how leaders are very quick to use soldiers for profit, then abandon them when they return home and end up homeless. Still is a softer moment in comparison to the rest of the project, featuring an almost prog folk sound that is a lot more melodic than the rest of the record. It's honestly pretty cool having a much more delicate and soft touch in the guitar and overall instrumental. This vibe helps convey the somber breakup nature of the lyrics, possibly referring back to that gay couple in Eat Men Eat. The flip into almost country territory at times while retaining that piano and jazz aesthetic is super impressive. Like, I would not mind seeing them go down this direction in the future. The next track, A Race Is About to Begin, is a wild song depicting all of these people betting their lives away, including a soldier that was mentioned back in Welcome to Hell. He loses all of his money while witnessing the worst and most judgmental people in society at this race. This is all happening as these chaotic vocals and punishing riffs just fly by everywhere. It conveys kind of a nihilistic and existential outlook on the world, seeing everybody just kind of use and abuse each other and all this chaos that is everywhere. The vocals and flows on this one are insane, man. Like Eminem who? Fucking Black Midi Rap God arc. We get a more true-to-form jazzy aesthetic on Dangerous Liaisons, with a smoky and hazy ambience to them. The piano is super slick, and the vocals and storytelling on this one are just fantastic. The story is about a farmhand who was convinced to kill someone by what appears to be a mobster, but it turns out it was actually Satan in disguise, and this farmhand feels immense guilt after he sees his murder victim in the newspaper as he's being taken to hell. It's a weirdly elegant yet nihilistic view on how people are easily convinced to do terrible things for the promise of immediate gain. The Defense is one of the best songs on an album full of best songs, featuring these very somber, elegant, and soaring piano, vocals, and brass. The story here is we have a Christian pimp who is convinced that he is going to heaven and his girls are going to hell, when it is in fact quite the opposite. It's because his girls are closer and more faithful to God and or are just better people in general. This song overall is just about the hypocrisy of religion, as many religious people who claim to be the best and most righteous of them all are actually the most intolerant and abusive. The last song, 27 Questions, is the ending moment of the record. It's like the theater is closing and they're telling us all to go home as they leave us with a few questions. The descending and collapsing instrumentals are intense, and the questions themselves are just examples of existential dread and absurdity. They're poking fun at how insane life is and how nothing is as simple as people think it is. This album is incredible, and me describing it just does not do it justice. Every song on here is so layered, so intense, yet so beautiful in their own disgusting and nihilistic ways. The vocals are chaotic and mesmerizing, and the instrumentals range from luxurious to brutal and harsh. The lyrics are also very interesting, depicting all manners of hell. I suppose the second half is like slightly less impactful than the first half is, and I do think the defense is, at least instrumentally, a more climactic closer than 27 Questions is, but those are really my only minor complaints and criticisms. I will admit, it is a very niche album probably. I can't imagine everybody being a fan of this, but if you're looking for something super proggy, super experimental, yet super varied and wild, this might be the album for you. Black Midi really outdid themselves, and I think this is an improvement on their previous material in every way. I cannot wait to hear what direction they go in next. I am feeling a light to decent 10 on Black Midi's newest album. Of course, we do have to talk about album covers on this show, and like their previous album covers, this one, again, makes me think of those images that are trying to replicate what a stroke feels like. It also kind of looks like those AI-generated images when you tell them to, like, paint a picture of what they think hell looks like. So I think this is very fitting. It's just like everything is colliding into each other, which is exactly what this album is. That bright pink is super eye-catching and popping. Like, this is a great album cover for a great album, captures the aesthetic perfectly. But of course, those are just my thoughts on this newest album by Black Midi. What do you guys think? Do you also think that this just improved on their sound on all fronts? Or is this sound still not really your thing? Let me know. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell if you will meet me in hell, and until the next one, farewell.